Evening, everyone. Hello, Toby. Thank you for taking the time to stop by tonight. Hopefully, this will be interesting for a few people. Certainly a little bit different than my last summary, which was back in September last year. Very, very different. Hey, Brad. Last time, I just basically had a screenshot of the current state, the way it was set up, and this time, completely different. Hey, Jazz. Custom built system that I'm actually going to give you a little bit of a demo and insight to. You can see the title of today's stream is a little bit clickbaity, but it is actually true. I haven't spent a lot of time this month actually working on reselling and still made some great sales, and as such, my average rate per hour over the month is over $100, which is awesome. If only I could bump that up 10x later, that might be enough to quit the day job altogether. Had an interesting thought on that as well, which I'll get to later. Hello, Thrifting Oz Style. I thought I would start with just the summary for the month. It's been insane, really, the month of the coronavirus, and I still currently feel going outside like I'm in a bit of a dream, sort of a bad B movie, starting off like a zombie thriller. And life, as we know, is still going to be changed forever. There's only a handful of people even left alive who were around during the Spanish flu of 1918. So the oldest man alive at the moment, 112, was only 10. So no one alive has ever witnessed anything like this before. And way back then, there weren't any planes to get people around, and my gut says that this is going to continue for quite some time. Hey, Liz. Hey, Brad again. Damn, live's still not showing up for me. Yes, it's not showing up for me either. But yeah, so just want to make sure that look after yourself and look after your family as well. I guess I'll start with sourcing, and what I'll do is I'll share the screen of the dashboard that I use. So I enter stuff on the front end, and it comes up on the dashboard on the back end. So if I want to have a glance at it, I can look at it sort of at a glance, I suppose. So this is what I see on a daily basis usually. So you'll see sourcing tab tells me a 7-day list, which has got nothing there because I haven't done any sourcing in the last few days, and then a 30-day total. I've just left it as 30 days to give me a rough sort of idea. So 39 items sourced, $72, 3 hours spent, so not real good, to be honest, and $1.85 per item. Anything that I do source will pop up down the bottom there under the black little tab. And yeah, so that's the sourcing. I really didn't plan to do any at all. And Toby, see what unzips. Yep, Google Sheets actually for that one. So I didn't plan to do any sourcing at all, but I just needed to get out of the house early on in the month. I thought it was still safe enough to go and pop into the couple of locals that are still well priced, and got a couple of bargains in there as well. Even managed a 40% discount off for just some friendly banter with the staff, because they were bored out of their brains. I see not many people going in, so yeah. I mean, sourcing I think is for the moment finished, other than Facebook. Got another email today from Salvo saying that they had shut the doors as well. Sourcing, also, I've talked about this already, but the bubble wrap, picked up a couple of that again earlier in the month. Next one, what do we have here? Yeah, everything's shut now. Listing this month was terrible. So bad, in fact, that I haven't actually made any notes whatsoever. But I will show you again the dashboard tab. So this has got a little bit more info than the last one. So you'll see there that on the 26th, 27th, I've actually done some listing there. few items, just listing. So that's me already having the photos, total value of what it is, and then an equivalent rate per hour, which is on the low side, mainly close, I think, for those. And then 1.57 average per day for the last week, and then a terrible average for the whole month because I've done nothing at all. So yeah, sales much better, of course. That up, multitasking. So the start of the month was awesome. Listing time, minute sell. Yeah, and second. Start of the month was awesome. Had my second highest sales day at the very start. The first 10 days I was trending at $241 per hour, which seems absurd, but again, no listing. A couple of decent sales, including some larger ticket items on Facebook Marketplace that have been sitting around for a while, including a corn block print and an old Denon stereo system, which was awesome. So that was good. And then obviously the coronavirus came along and smacked everything in the face. I'll bring that dashboard up in a second. And then, yeah, okay, I'll bring that up. So this is the sales one for the month. So as you can see, 7 days, not really, that's probably about 25-30% really below where I want it to be. Cost of goods is pretty good. Fees just broken down as a rough guide for PayPal, eBay, and shipping, all in one. Net profit. This figure here, if applied to home loans, so I'm actually using the proceeds from the reselling to put onto the investment property mortgage just to pay it off quicker. So I'm working on a rough amount of times 4 for whatever goes on there. This month is a little different because I haven't actually done that. I've decided to take that money this month and use it just to bolster things around the house and stock up on a few things and pay a few bills just to make sure that I've got that sort of flexibility. Getting back to what you were saying, Toby. Oh, okay. That's good. I can actually see myself now on what I'm clicking at. So all of these are run as queries, a whole bunch of stuff. And then basically they just give me whatever I want to put there, to be honest. So sale amount, cost of goods, fees, gives me the total net. I can just glance at it and make sure that I haven't missed entering anything. Again, 30 days, just at a glance. And then I've actually copied and pasted the sales from the eBay dashboard as well, just so you can have a look. It says that huge day at the start, and then tapers off all the way through the middle. To be fair, I didn't do any listings, so this is probably my own fault as well. So being on track for probably the best month I've had since I've been recording them, it's ended up like that. And then sales last 31 days down against the market, against myself, but up against a year ago, but that is due to more listings, to be honest. Just interested in how you track your time when you're listing. Yep, so it's entered on the front end using Google Form, and then just as long as I track it, I can just use queries on the back end to keep track of it that way. Expenses were a little higher compared to last month. I had 2 lots of subcontractor costs for photos, stocked up on some stamps as well. Just purchased a bulk lot of stamps and had those there just in case. And there was something else as well. The annual eBay Plus subscription I put down as an expense, mainly because I could argue that I use it for the contact center. So if I have a problem with eBay, I use that and get premium service for it. Hey, Zach. Talked about the shift in proceed use. I'll touch on that a bit more in a second. Nope, same one. bad. April's goals. April's goals. Kill the listing. So I want to basically double my target from 3 to 6 as a minimum per day. And there's no sourcing to do, so just work on that, and obviously keep chipping away at upgrading some of the business systems as well. I'll show you guys the dashboard that I'm using as well to track everything. So each of those are individual tabs if you want to look at sourcing, listing, sales, and then this is the whole month put together. So I've allocated myself a mark, which is a B. And there's my formula at the top. It's just a series of ifs, which basically says if I go over this, I get this, and all the way up to over 2,000 really is the goal, and that's for total combined cash flow. So March total altogether, 2,222. 98 sourcing costs. That's the profit after everything. Spent 13 hours total across all activities. Business expenses, so 166 is our photos out of that. And fees including eBay, etc. Store value, that's what it currently is. It's down over 1,000 because I haven't done the listings for it. Total listings have dropped as well. And then cash flow after everything's taken into account. And then I'm including the recovered cost of goods as well, because I am taking those out of the businesses at the moment because I've got plenty of spare cash in there already. And that leaves me with 1,474 of actual cash flow for the month. And then obviously on an hourly basis, divided by 13, 117 an hour, which is up a massive $78 an hour from last month as well. No questions yet. So easy graphical way to look at it. So it's pretty similar to last month, all things considered. Facebook has got me over the line with getting it up there, but even the result, the actual cash flows ended up being better than last month, which is good. And then time utilization by month as well. So 16 hours each month and then down to 5. And then the time spent sourcing. Yep. And yeah, does anyone have any questions on that? Don't know if it's 24 hours or 9 days. I'm sure it's fine, but maybe high risk in other states. Toby's walked right past Harder Rubbish today. No thanks. How am I dealing with Facebook sales? At the moment, just a case-by-case basis. I was thinking, I watched Brad and Jazz's replay from yesterday about all the Ken Duncan puzzles. I've actually probably got about 10 of those sitting in my cupboard to the right of me here. Hey, Georgina. And I'm thinking I might chuck those up on Facebook. So I don't know. Put them up, leave them outside, get someone to put $20 in the letterbox or under the mat or something, maybe in a box, disinfect the hell out of it. Why am I Google shooting and not excelling? Because of the form input and the fact that you can use it on mobile. So super flexible. I can just manage it from anywhere I am. If I go out, I can enter in stuff that I've sourced. And yeah, I can just basically do it as I'm going, and then I never have to think about it again. It's all tracked as I go. Hey, Georgina. Sold a Ken Duncan today. Wash the old hands. Yeah, I had an order from Amazon turn up today, actually. And yeah, I just told the guy to leave it outside. Had a knife, undid the box, and then just took stuff out, threw the box away, washed my hands. Easy peasy. Ken Duncan, 4 and 3 days now. What are you paying to ship those, Jazz? Just out of curiosity. I'll go back to this. SharePoint, yeah. There are multiple ways you can do it, but I just find this the easiest. Super easy to use. You can run your own macros as well to update things as you need them. Not sure on that. But yeah, so it's been a good month. I'm pretty happy with the result. 1220 is the standard. Use a large, tough bag. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, maybe I'll get those up sooner rather than later. Good point. So yeah, obviously, so these figures aren't in comparison to others, not the greatest, but I'm a part-time reseller with a full-time job as well. So anything like this that I can generate above my own wage, I suppose, is still definitely worth doing my time. And yeah, thanks, mate. Still trying to work away at getting this sort of up to 50K. And I believe I'll be able to get there within the next sort of 2-3 months with no sourcing to do and just focusing on listing. Got heaps and heaps of shoes, sort of high dollar items as well. A few of those to get up. Yeah. All right. Was there any other questions? I know that's probably a lot to take in, considering you're not used to looking at it like I am. A few sales today, which was surprising. Yeah, I've had one. Mainly books. I've had a lot of book sales. Dave saying high five, very nice. Yep. I really like it. It's just easy to look at if I want to just track how I'm going, particularly like things like the listing one where, you know, if I look at that and go, oh, that's not super bad. Last month and the month before was actually quite motivating to look at it and go, all right, I need to do something to get that figure up to meet the goal. And yeah, I think the good start for the month probably derailed me a little bit there with that. But yeah, all the data. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys think would be useful to track? I still think there's probably more I can do with the analytics side, but you know, you can even automate. If you had multiple people using the same sheet, for example, like a couple, 2 Aussie thrifters maybe, using the same sheet, you could make a comment and which will automatically send an email to the other person. You just type in the email address and yeah, make a comment on a sell if something's not right. It's yeah, super handy, I reckon. Tracking my stuff, but slacked off for the last 2 months. Not motivated. Yeah, so for me, it's just the time's the big motivating factor for it. So I want to make sure that I'm not wasting my time and being efficient with what I'm listing as well. I picked up a lot of stuff in the early days that once I'd finished packing it, board games and puzzles can be a good example of that, particularly if they're not sealed. Then I found that after I'd factored the time and it really wasn't worth it. Everything sourced for free. Gotta love that. Do you track shrinkage in there? Yeah, I have added them in, but I'm thinking there's probably a better way I could do that. My note would be, Jazz, please bring a beer to the listening room. For sure. Thanks, Brad. Yep. So yeah, there's a little bit of an insight for the month. Anyway, it's been good. I'm hoping that April's probably going to be better. Maybe people are going to be buying stuff still. All the stimulus packages coming through. Who knows? Maybe it'll actually be a good few months for the resellers with all the shops closing up and people really hunkering down. Long as the post office keeps running, which it seems to be, they're doing some good work with Woolworths as well, delivering food to vulnerable people. So good on them. Running ROI and average sold ROI. Could do, but this is the thing. Like I could drill down on it and be super accurate with everything going in there, but I've got a rough idea of what on the sales side I could pull the data from eBay Direct using Zapier. I'm still investigating that a bit further, but the fees and the shipping, I basically know the numbers and I always estimate to the top side. And as long as I've got those there, it gives me just that average. The ROI doesn't really concern me because I'm looking to have the higher dollar amounts, not the higher ROIs. So I'll be quite happy with a 20, 30, 40% ROI versus 1,000% if the amount is higher. So instead of turning 50 cents into $50, turning $50 into $150. Lazy and track nothing. I couldn't do it. Differentiate personal sales and costs from your sales. Personal sales. Explain further, Toby. That's why I need a loop machine. Do you track things other than dollars? Yes. So time, inventory as well. So I track the inbound. So when I have the cost, the receipts, photos of what it is as well. So if I, for example, bought something and then I was super slack and didn't list it for a month or two, I could go back and then know, all right, I bought it from that Salvos on that date, find the photo, and then have a look at the receipt and go, oh, okay, I paid $2 for it, $3 for it, something like that. Also gives me the date as well if I want to go to that extreme. Most things cost me zero, that's true. Living the dream. So yeah, hopefully that gives some people some ideas anyway. And I've already been talking for $23 tax time. Can't claim for personal costs against personal sales. Personal sales. Yeah, it's a good idea, I suppose. Most of the stuff that goes in there is all related to the business, though. I don't think I've tracked anything I can think of that is a personal sale as such. Yep, you should have a good idea, Toby. So if you've got any others, fire them my way. Send me a DM. Yeah, tax time could be interesting this year. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a news article doing the rounds at the moment about planning and possibly claiming running costs for working at home. So if you are still happens to be employed and able to work from home, you can claim some of those. Might be worth just having a chat to your accountant, though, to make sure that it's not going to impact any capital gains or anything later, because I have looked at that before. Pretty sure Brad touched on that as well last year. You know what we should do, Brad? We should do a tax special this year before that. something on my to-do. Do I track sales by category? Yes, I can. I haven't actually gotten around to do the analytics behind that as far as what category has been selling the most, but I have actually already set that up in preparation to do that. So at the moment, I think I've only got a few categories listed. So like clothing, books, media, games, and others, I think. Yeah. You are welcome, mate. That page, I think, almost has 1 million people on it now. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, there's an Australian Facebook group for products that are made in Australia. So I shot Zach a link to that the other day. Hopefully he can move some product. Average sale price over a month or over a week. Yep, that's pretty easy to do for sure. One of the ones I was looking at is the average listed price, trying to get that up as well. As long as you don't claim space against your personal home, that's when you get into problems, capital gains, etc. Yeah, same. I have looked at this before and decided it wasn't a good idea, but being that we are required to work from home wherever we can, thinking it might be different this year. Have been looking at a new chair and a new mouse, some business deductions to get in there at the moment. So things have been going okay and want to reduce that tax bill a little bit. Also got a call from the the property manager today saying that my tenant's lease was due to expire next month, which I'd totally forgotten about. And he wasn't sure if he was going to stay in there or not. I don't know who would move in the middle of a pandemic other than Megan. Good luck, Megan. But yes. Yeah, there's multiple ways to track things as well. Definitely not an expert either. I have read a bit of stuff over the years, and my accountant's pretty good. Did do a post last year on some questions I asked my accountant. If you want to go back and find that, it is, can't remember, tax time something. It's on the blog anyway. Power, internet, phone, etc. Yep. Tax costs, the government might force capital gains. Space is taxable something, even if you don't claim. Yeah. If you own your own house or part own it with a bank, I definitely don't think it's worth it. Car expenses, yep, absolutely. So even the eBay Plus thing, I'll be looking to claim that because I can justify it. It actually saves me time whenever I have an issue with a buyer or a return or whatever. Brad argues with her accountant's hectic, yep. I also pay probably a little bit more than most would for my accountant, just to get that extra expertise and make sure that everything's by the book, I suppose. But yeah, continuing in this fashion, it needs me to actually create some more expenses before the end of the year. I touched on earlier the shift in the proceeds use. So originally it was just doing it to make some extra money, but then I swapped to the investment properties. And the ultimate goal, so if you haven't been here before, if you're tuning into this later, was to pay it off within 5 to 10 years realistically. And it's not a huge amount. It's only $124,000 I think I paid for it. So it's a bit of an unusual one. A caravan with an annex in a retirement village. So it's different and was hard to get finance for as well because it is different. But the property is, so it's negatively geared but cash flow positive, if that makes sense. So after deductions it becomes negative, but the cash flow actually does pay for the mortgage, which is good. But the whole point was to try and pay this off as quickly as possible. And then leading back to the point I made right at the start is perhaps look at refinancing the house that I'm in right now and then pushing that loan back out to 30 years and then reducing that amount payable way down to perhaps, I don't know, $250 a week, just off the top of my head. And then I can really have a look at going sort of part-time at a part-time job, and then the rest is reselling and having that lifestyle that I'm sort of trying to achieve. And the other idea, tell me what you guys think about this, because I've been mulling it around in my head for a little bit. If I was to take $1,000 a month and instead put it in the stock market over the next 18 months to 2 years, I think I could probably turn that maybe into double what that initial investment is. So if I put 24,000 into the stock market, so after a bottom and a crash, usually that's the time frame to sort of get back to any sort of realistic comparison to what it was before, which is a long time. But it'll also save me a lot of time just chipping away at the house as well. So perhaps a little bit of a dangerous strategy, but yeah. Let me know what you think. Let's go back through this. Seems to into it, so I'll just do whatever she says. Yep. I do like to ask questions though, Toby, because sometimes they do get it wrong, and if you don't ask, then you won't get either, and they can get things wrong, make mistakes. A few years ago, I was doing some trading and contracts for difference, which is a total different kettle of fish, and had to like double check all of their work to make sure that they weren't putting negatives where positives should be and things like that. ATO, so got a return of an extra few thousand, so I'm happy. That's awesome, especially in these times. I'm going to be doing all my tax stuff in the next month and a bit, make sure it's ready to go as soon as possible. Did you argue? Didn't argue. Set up meeting. Don't play with stocks is my hot tip. Risk reward, Toby. Yeah, it does get complicated, doesn't it? That's interesting. I need to look further into that a little bit. Not applicable right at this moment because I'm not registered for GST, but down the road that might be super handy to remember. You and me both, mate, along with the banks. Return on reselling outweighs the stocks. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's it. It's almost like a guaranteed return, isn't it? I made $1,500 in 50 minutes on the stock. My next flutter, I lost $4,200. Yes. I've got a photo somewhere, Toby, of me on a stock. It's when I was working on the mines, being up over $80,000, and then giving that all the way back as well. True greed. Not one of my finer moments. You can claim the running of a home office, though, doesn't impact on capital gains tax. Yep. Admin, etc. Chuck that link in the chat if you can, Brad, if it's accessible. just not as a storage area for your stock as a write-off. Okay, that's interesting. I've just got the basic stuff, computers, etc., power, phone, internet, anything like that. What about mega trends? So back to the stock market again, just briefly. So after this does recover, there's going to be some big shifts in the world. I mean, climate change, everything else was already leading towards electric cars and electrification of battery systems and everything else. Is there any other areas that you guys think might be worth looking at? Give me some suggestions. So I'm already kind of have some investments in that space, and it's still, I would say before all the coronavirus stuff happened, I was still like 5 years too early as it is, and that's probably blown out to 10 or more now. But there's got to be some other industries that will recover fairly well after this. I'm not really sure what they are just yet. Brad's chucked that into the chat. Thank you, mate. I'll definitely have to have a look at that. That's good. Yeah. All right. Well, if no one else has got any other questions, we'll leave it there. Thanks for tuning in. Qantas. So even that's a bit of a weird one. Back in 2001, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was 2001 when they had their little meltdown. I had a look at Air New Zealand at the time, thinking that the government would bail them out, and they did, and they shot up. I think it was 300 or 400% pretty quickly. But Qantas and Virgin, same thing. Virgin be super cheap at the moment if you bought it, but there's a good chance it could go under as well. You just don't know. Qantas is the national carrier. They should be fine. Oil's cheap at the moment. The last GFC I lost a lot of money as well. Had all those contracts of difference open. So within the space of a couple of days, I ended up losing like 40 grand. And yeah, that was not good. It was some super stressful times for me at that stage because I was trying to buy a house as well. And then I ended up borrowing some money, which is a big no-no, to buy the bank shares at the time, and I ended up doing pretty well. And luckily it worked out in my favor, paid off the loan, recouped some of that loss, which was good. And yeah, if things are a little different now, then I'll be seriously thinking about doing the same thing again. But I still think we've got a hell of a long way to go before we've even got anywhere near the bottom. Just the fallout, all the people on Wall Street saying, stimulus. Well, there's only so much stimulus you can put in, and you're still dealing with people as well. It's the people factor, I think, that you can't sort of plan for, and just the delayed response in some of the countries. China's obviously sort of towards the end of the virus itself, and then there's others like India with huge populations that are just getting started. So it's going to be ongoing. Shares dropped from like $9 to $2 to $3. Yeah. Banks were the same as well. Hadn't kept any receipts for op shop purchases, so that'll be fun when it comes to it. Yes, absolutely. You just do what I do, Toby. I just take a photo. And before I was using the system I got now, I was just literally just take the photo, upload it to Google Photos, and then at the end of the month, I'd try and reconcile as I went. And not ideal. And the new system just allows me to look at the whole lot in one go. And okay, I spent that for the month or that for the year. It'll be infinitely quicker. No, they will not let Qantas fold at all. Yep, you can use your bank statements. That's painful though to try and reconcile those. More money to be lost, I think. Yeah, some good stuff on Twitter for some of the technical analysis as well, like support and resistance and measurements and all of that sort of good stuff. ATO app for receipt photos. Yeah, it's a good idea too. All right, well, hopefully all of that has been useful in some way. And yeah, if you've got any other suggestions for the improvement of that, what you think could be useful, let me know. And yeah, I'll do the Word demo on Friday, I think. Quick demo, cover a few key things that I use all the time, and that should be good as well. All right, thanks very much everyone for jumping in, having a chat. It's been a good one, and yeah, hopefully April is awesome for everyone. Thanks, Liz. Thanks, Thrifting Ostyle. Good night, everyone. And I will see you next time.